Hello everyone and welcome to the Stock Martin channel. I have an awesome video for you today. You are going to be watching the CEO of Lucid Group doing an interview with CNBC. They are on location in Judea, Saudi Arabia. And just most recently, Peter Rawlinson, the CEO, has just signed a huge deal with the Saudi Arabian government as it will be increasing productions and they will be building a brand new facility, the AMP2 in Saudi Arabia. And this is going to be incredible, huge future growth potential as this has exponentially increased the production volume of the company moving forward. We have known that now this company will be producing 155,000 electric vehicles once the AMP2 facility is built in Saudi Arabia by the year 2025. And by that time, Lucid will have an ability to produce up to 500,000 electric vehicles worldwide. Now, the Saudi Arabian facility will be producing vehicles for the European market, Asian and Middle Eastern markets, but very big growth potential. This does give us some great upside catalyst potential once we get this, but take a look at this huge interview, and I think you're going to get a lot out of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to talk to you on the next one, but check this out.
Peter, it's great to have you on CNBC. Thanks so much for joining us. We're here in Jeddah to a big announcement for Lucid, announcing your first plant outside the United States, and you decided to put it right here in the kingdom.
Indeed, a seminal moment both for the company and for the kingdom. Lucid Motors' first move internationally, international manufacturing plant here in the kingdom, and the genesis of a motor industry here in a country famed for its oil resources, committed to going to sustainable mobility.
Yeah, it's incredible actually when you think about it against that sort of panacea of history. But this move by Saudi Arabia to move into electric vehicles, to really accelerate their own transition into clean energies is something that they've been talking about for several years now, and this is a big move for them of implementation.
I think it's profound, and I think here is the connection that there is an alignment with the Saudi Vision 2030 and the mission of Lucid Motors to really catalyze mankind's transition to sustainable mobility.
What does this mean for your bottom line as a company in terms of how quickly you're going to be able to produce these vehicles, and where are the markets you're looking to service from this particular plant?
Well, it means that we've got a really bright future, because with 150,000 units capacity here, and we add that to the 350,000 capacity capability that we'll have in Arizona mid-decade, that means we can accelerate plans to produce 500,000 cars a year from what was going to be 2030 to mid-decade, and that's really important because the planet can't wait.
Yeah, when you think about that with regards to the energy crisis that we see the world experiencing right now. A few months ago we were talking about supply chain issues. We're still talking about them, but now we're talking about oil prices that for many Americans are just not sustainable. What does that mean for what you guys are trying to do?
Well, I think it really just fuels the transition to battery electric vehicles. If the demand wasn't big enough before, the demand is now multiplying. We've secured over 30,000 reservations. We've also got 50 to 100,000 reservations secured from the kingdom, from the finance ministry of Saudi Arabia. But what's really important here is that this is a technology play, it's a tech race, and our technology means our cars are more efficient, which means we can go further with less batteries. And that means that we can produce more electric cars for a limited world resource in minerals such as nickel, manganese, cobalt, and we can have less draw of electrons off the grid, because each of our cars will go further for less electricity.
Yeah, you're talking about the elements, the minerals, if you will, that make up these batteries. But one of the big questions, of course, becomes one of scant resources, right?
Yeah.
Because some of them are diminishing rapidly. Others are in parts of the world that, frankly, those in Western democracies will look askance at doing business with.
Absolutely.
What's your greatest concern there to your bottom line? Because when we see the geopolitical concerns that we have today on the horizon, and we also think about that scarcity of mineral resources, that could have a major impact on your company.
Well, I think that the world needs EVs, and there's a bright future for that company that can make the most advanced, most efficient EVs, and that does actually impact the bottom line, because if you look at the cost of making an EV,
but if you can't get a hold of the minerals you need, that would be even more dramatic to your supply chain.
Well, exactly. But if in a sort of more nuanced situation, we were limited with the number of minerals that we were able to secure, because our cars are more efficient, for that X amount of minerals that we can secure, we can make proportionately more cars than anyone else. And that has a multiplier effect on the bottom line, because each car is more cost effective to manufacture. So we can actually secure a greater gross margin per unit, but we can actually produce more units, and that's the multiplier effect. And it's our technology that's going to enable that impact upon the bottom line.
What about the naysayers on this one, who would just look at this situation and say, with that dependency on the minerals that we're discussing and the worries over supply chain issues, you're really talking about a company or even an industry, electric vehicles themselves, that could come under significant pressure in the coming years?
Well, I mean, you can look for a worry-wart angle on everything, and gasoline cars require gasoline, don't they? I mean, you know, if you look at...
And gasoline is fueling the economy that created the sovereign wealth fund that is fueling Lucid.
It is.
61%.
It's a perfect cycle, isn't it?
What do you think about the fact that in the United States, for example, they've been slow to adopt charging stations? Because when outside of urban areas, you still got great swaths of the United States that don't have access to that at this point. How does that evolve in your view? Because obviously we're talking about orders for these cars, we're talking about an entire group of society, half of America, who wants to eventually move into electric vehicles, but the technology just isn't there on the ground yet.
Well, I think the infrastructure isn't there on the ground,
Yeah.
but I think there's almost a myopic overemphasis upon the fast charging. 95% of EV charging is done slowly, overnight, at home. I think it's deep in the American psyche, this mythical road trip where people are going to need the fast charging. Now, of course, we have the perfect antidote to range anxiety. Lucid Air has 520 miles of range in the instance of the Dream Edition range, and we have the capacity to charge at 300 miles in just 21 minutes. No one else is even close. So, you know, there isn't the need to depend upon frequent fast charging when you've got a car of that caliber and that range.
Yeah, talk to me a little about how Lucid stacks up against the competition, because when you're talking your top model is 169,000, that's a huge chunk of somebody's paycheck. But at the same point, you've got Tesla's cheaper and faster, no?
Well, it depends how you define fast. I think that there is one model of Tesla which is more accelerative to 60 miles an hour, but I think our Dream P is pretty capable thereafter. We're defining a luxury brand. We have a car which is extraordinary in its capabilities. It's true luxury. It's a Mercedes S-Class competitor.
Yeah.
It's
the Ferrari of EVs.
It absolutely is. It's defining its own segment here. And we have to create a brand here. And we start with a high-end product. And this is, there have been many precedents in commerce, starting with a high-end product and gradually make that more affordable. We're coming with the Air Pure later this year at $87,000, an amazing machine with over 400 miles range, a great car, true luxury car, and we're going to make more affordable products as we go mid-decade with our mid-size platform, middle of the decade. That's where we'll be becoming much more competitive in the 50,000 price range.
When you think about how this technology could be applied further down the road, as you mentioned, what things come to mind beyond electric vehicles? Because obviously you're putting a lot of emphasis on this technology, but this is generally seen as just a catalyst for greater technology.
No, totally. I mean, it's transferable to a myriad of applications, agricultural, mining, heavy equipment. But a particular interest of mine is electric aircraft, eVTOL.
Yeah.
And that's where efficiency again is king, because it's the gravimetric energy density of battery packs which is absolutely a dominating criterion for the viability and range of an electric aircraft. But if you've got a system, a holistic drivetrain system, which is inherently more efficient, if you can get, say, 10, 11% more efficiency, you can actually take 10 or 11% out of that battery mass immediately.
Yeah.
And again, it comes back to this technology race. I believe that our systems are ideally suited for eVTOL aircraft.
Yeah. One question. When you think about what's happening right now with geopolitically in the energy space, we're talking about the prospect actually in the coming days of potentially a ban on Russian oil in the EU. We've got one country, Hungary, right now holding out on that one. But that does mean that depending on which country in the EU you're sitting in, you have a variety of different energy resources. A lot of them, the clean energy community would want to be very upset about. And we're talking about they're burning coal, they're going back to traditional fossil fuels. Of course, when you plug in your EV, that means that whatever electricity you're coming in off the grid is going to go into that EV, and it's not necessarily clean energy. It's not necessarily something that is good for the environment. Does that concern you at all, that those sources of energy at the moment are not where they need to be?
Well, I look at this as opportunity, and I think each country can sort of play to its geographic strength. We already see Norway as a bastion for hydroelectric power generation. And then I think southern countries in Europe, Spain, Portugal, and Italy, Greece, ideally suited for solar voltaic.
Yeah. Just to round it off, when you think about Saudi Arabia, obviously this is the first plant for you guys in this country, talking about as many as 30,000 jobs. Do you think that number could grow as more Lucid technology comes to Saudi Arabia?
Oh yeah, I mean, we'd love to do really contribute to the infrastructure, not just the electric car. Energy storage systems are ideal for that. And you can actually create charging stations which are off the grid, linking energy storage, static storage with photovoltaic farms. And this technology is ideal for this part of the world, because remember, when the oil runs out, the sun will keep shining.
It's fantastic to have you on CNBC. Thank you so much.
Thank you.